Hello and welcome to Down the Track. Today we will be reviewing the game between Chennai Super Kings, who are the experienced army, versus the Corbo Lorbo Jibbo army in KKR, Shah Rukh Khan's team. A convincing performance, a performance that makes his KKR team look good and take some confidence into the next game. What do you think? Your initial thoughts, Musti. Of course, I have with me Mera host, Mera dost, Musti. How are you?
No, I'm doing well. Thank you so much. I mean, today was a very weird game. It was a good game. It wasn't one sided. It was a game, but very weird. Both sides started off like they're gonna score 200, and then the death overs they struggled. I think both sides bowled well in the death overs, but KKR just held on. I think Andre Russell's over and Chakravarti as well. It turned things around. Watson's wicket. He struggled against Narayan. That was a smart move, bringing in Narayan. I think Narayan should have come a bit early, and he could have removed Watson early on. That's a trick DK missed. But apart from that, both teams amazing at that. I think KKR, the opening spot, Rahul Tripathi taking that slot. I think that made a huge difference. Scored 80 odd today. Fantastic innings. He led the win. No one else really contributed, but it was enough runs on the board. And we can see in the second innings in Abu Dhabi, it is a bit more difficult to bat. But CSK, I think they were on track for most of the game. They just their middle order has a lot of issues.
Absolutely, I think I agree completely. I mean, it's just a little bit concerning for CSK because again they got off to a decent start. You expect that middle order to just take a step and take some experience in, and they're an experienced bunch. The likes of Jadhav, Dhoni, Jaddu, Karan, all these guys are decent, experienced people. I mean, none of them were able to just get going. Maybe a little bit of that to do with the pitch because both KKR and CSK struggled because maybe when the ball gets a little bit softer, I think it's a little harder to hit. But also, I mean, both of them I think bowled well in the death overs and the second half of the innings. I think Chennai had an upper hand till about the 10 overs of their batting innings, and then they just completely lost it from there. None of the guys, none of Dhoni, Jadhav, Karan, or Jaddu, no one was able to really get going, and that really cost them. And maybe Watson getting out at the wrong time really helped. But I think in terms of Kolkata, I think they'll take a lot of heart. They were there and thereabout in this game. It could have gone against them very easily, but. Something that they will be happy about in terms of their bowling, the experienced likes in Narayan and Russell coming through in at least, if not with the bat, at least with the ball, so that's a big bonus for them. And this team also is looking good now.
Yeah, Russell's become a death over specialist. He didn't bowl all game. He just came for the last few overs, bowled brilliantly. Yeah. But CSK, I just want to touch upon, I think you're right. The last few overs, it's hard to bat on. But the only difference is KKR were trying to set a score. So they were trying to hit the shots and they wanted 180 plus. So they were losing wickets. CSK knew what the target was. They just needed to rotate the strike. I think they consumed too many dot balls. It's been a problem with this team. We saw even against Sunrisers, they consume too many dot balls. They take it too deep. This strategy won't work all the time, especially on these pitches. You need to rotate the strike to the least, at least rotate it. I'm not saying hit a boundary or every ball. At least rotate the strike.
I agree 100%. I think that they're missing a trick over here. We saw Steve Fleming in the middle. They kept showing him every now and again, and he seemed a little bit frustrated. I think he's put out some plans, and they're not really going to plan per se. So some thinking for Chennai to do. I mean, they had a very convincing victory yesterday, but just the top two really scored all the runs, and they really never got to test that middle order, which is susceptible now. And everyone knows that if you can get the first 3 wickets quickly, I think there's a good chance to get this Chennai team in trouble. So that's kind of what they're going to look into. I mean.
Fielding has been an issue as well.
Exactly. I definitely wanted to touch upon that. I mean, some simple catches being dropped, some unnecessary midfields where it's literally going through the legs of the players and stuff like that. That at this level is absolutely unacceptable. They really have to work on that. That's just absolutely unacceptable. I mean, if these basic things, if they can fix that, just try to rotate the strike, try to feel better. I think they automatically become a better side. They're looking a little bit weaker than they actually are. But this is an experienced squad. I mean, it's still tough to completely write them off,
Yeah, I mean, I wrote them off before the season, like right now. So I'm okay with them losing, but there are a lot of issues there. Like, I'll be surprised if they do make the playoffs, to be very honest with you. You need like Watson and Faf to perform every game, but like it won't work. Like, you need a middle order there. You need to rotate the strike. Death bowling was better today, but then fielding has been an issue. So there's a lot of areas they need to improve on. Of course, you can't count them out. Dhoni has a lot of experience. He's an excellent captain, but it is worrying signs because they've lost already 4 games games and just won two, I think, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there are some worrying signs there. They'll need to get to the drawing board really quickly.
Yep, I agree 100%. But it's an experienced side, like you said. I mean, I wouldn't still completely write them off, but yeah, some worrying signs for them. And when KKR plays like they did today, everything can be forgotten. I mean, if a lot of questions could have been raised about Narayan's batting order. Still, it just seems unfair that Morgan doesn't get that number 4. We talked about it yesterday too. It's just his role. It's ideally made for him, but they sent in Narayan. I mean, today they won. It all looks great. Tomorrow you never know if they lose, and then a lot of these questions get still get
He should just
asked
bat
about
him
him.
down the order. I feel like, he
I
can.
think I think he's a perfect number 8. You give him 2 overs, he can give you 20 runs in those 2 overs, and that's all you need from
Yeah,
him.
like I mean, you need to play your best batsman at the top, and I think Morgan and Russell need as much time, especially Morgan. I think
Yeah,
Russell, you can utilize him at the death, but
yeah,
you need Morgan there, like
yeah.
batting a lot of overs.
I
So
think Tripathi, Gill, Rana 3, Morgan at 4, DK at 5, Russell at 6, Narayan at 7, and Cummins at 8. That's a pretty solid lineup
yeah,
anyway. So I
I
think
think
that's
that's what
very good
they
for
keep
them.
it simple. Right now, they're trying to fit him in. They're trying to get the most out of him. Try to win the game like in 2 minutes. It's not going to work like that. Like
Yeah,
these pitches
yeah,
are not going to be conducive to like big hitting every single time. So they need to
exactly.
be a bit more smart in their approach.
And they can always send him up the order in a Sharjah pitch. That way that if they're playing in Sharjah, just send him up.
But
If
even
he
then, we
great,
saw him struggle with the fast bowling there as
yeah,
well. So
yeah,
like you could send him, but I'm just saying like if it's not working, it's not working. Just try something different. Tripathi came up the order.
yeah,
Now boost Morgan to number 4. It will work one
yeah.
day or the other.
Absolutely. I think you're right. Fair points over there, definitely. But I think your player of the match.
Shah Rukh Khan and the stands. Whenever he's there, they don't lose, man. And
Yeah,
as soon
man.
as I
He
saw
was
him, I'm like, oh, the game's gonna turn.
the game.
But
Chennai was leading in that at that state, and then they showed him, and I was like, whoa. And he's such a positive influence on the team. After the game, he keeps giving those flying kisses and everything, and
yeah,
and even when Rahul Tripathi was talking to Harsha Bogle, he was just looking at Shah Rukh Khan all the time. So that was
yeah,
nice to see.
yeah.
But
Yeah, definitely. He does. There is a presence, but yeah, if you really want to ask player, I think it has to be Rahul Tripathi. Um, got the opening slot, took the opportunity with both hands. I think
yeah,
he batted brilliantly. Healthy run rate. In the middle, he slowed down a bit,
yeah,
but at the same time, you expect the other batsman, non-striker, to take the pressure off him. That wasn't happening, so maybe
correct.
that's why. But he still hit some boundaries towards the end as well. And a shout out to Russell. I think his death bowling was magnificent.
Yep, I agree 100%. And even Narayan coming to the party with the ball always helps. That was also a good performance. They
He's
didn't seem
dismissed
like,
Watson 5 times now.
yeah, and it was a nice quicker one. Watson just got beat for pace, and he didn't really expect that, I think.
Yeah.
But nicely done. Well done to KKR. Looking good. I think that wraps up today's game. Tomorrow is a big game. It's the Sunrisers Hyderabad versus Kings 11 Punjab. Punjab, even though they've had some close games, they've started to really look out of sorts. It's just that it's not working. Their 11 is not weak by any stretch of the imagination, but they've not been able to win games, and that's a big issue. Sunrisers, on the other hand, have been hot and cold. They've been blowing hot and cold. They've had some really good wins. They've had some terrible losses. It's just been one of those seasons for them. But your initial thoughts?
I mean, I could look at this two ways. Okay, one way is that Punjab are favorites to win this game
Yeah,
because Bhuvi's loss as a opening bowler and a death bowler is a huge loss for Sunrisers. I still
absolutely.
feel Sunrisers are a really good team, but with Bhuvi there, like I think his experience helps a lot. We can see when the games are tight against CSK, like he bowled so well even with the new ball. So he's going to be a huge miss, and I think Punjab will capitalize on that. But
Yeah,
now, if I flip the coin a bit and see that what can you do with what you have, I
yeah,
think get in a Billy Stanley, get
correct,
Sandeep Sharma. Hopefully, gets like the opener is out. So I know Bershaw is an amazing player, but like you need to you're unlucky with injuries, so you have to change it around. Get Billy Stanley there. At least you have that okay, I have a bowling option. I have a fast bowler who might trouble the batsman.
correct.
Um, and try it out. But yeah, like it doesn't look good for Sunrisers. I think they're a really good team, but with the injuries, Mitchell Marsh and now Bhuvi, I think it's not. It's going to be an uphill task from here. But in cricket, you never know.
Absolutely. I mean, Bhui's loss definitely makes the Sunrisers team significantly weaker, and he was starting to really look good. I mean, he had a couple of bad games, and then he started to really look good. So that's an important aspect if you think about it. Uh, it is what it is. I mean, they have to, like you said, work with what they have. They are coming up against a Punjab side that is low on confidence, but they'll be looking to resurrect their tournament as well. Like, they must be really looking to make the most of the remaining opportunities that they have before it's too late. I mean, another loss for them puts them down in the pecking order, because I think everyone else except for, I think, Chennai and Hyderabad now are at 4 points, but Hyderabad has a game less. So now if they win tomorrow, then Punjab is the only team at number 2 points, and then CSK at 4, and the others are all taking that little bit of a gap.
Yeah.
And with Mumbai and Delhi kind of looking favorites, and KKR and RCB looking good for the next two spots, it's really a fight between these guys. Rajasthan needs to pull up their socks. They've been losing a few games, so it's still open for third and fourth, I think. But as of right now, it looks like Punjab might be a little too far suddenly, and then they might have to win like 8 of their next 9 games, and that gets tricky sometimes. So those are the issues that they might have to deal with. So it's an important game for both these teams, really, just to see who takes that extra step towards keeping them more alive in this tournament per se. It's starting to get it. We're I think 1/3 into the tournament, so we need to start to we are starting to see some favorites, but we need to start seeing who are the guys that are dropping off a little bit. So that's kind of where we are at with this. But your prediction? You think Punjab?
Yeah, I think Punjab, I'll be the happiest man. If I'm wrong, I'll be the happiest man. I just feel they'll capitalize on Bhuvi's miss. I think the openers are very strong. And also, I'm not sure about the form of Warner. He needs to click. I think David Warner needs to click. If Bairstow, Williamson, I don't know if they're both going to play, but one of them needs to click as well. Their top order really needs to click. I understand there's issues in middle order and everything, but the youngsters, they did perform. Like against CSK, they did perform. So you can't really blame middle order all the time. You need your big players to step up. And if they do step up, I think Sunrisers will have a chance. But at the same time, I feel Punjab are going into this game as favorites. Imagine a Warner century. It changes everything. But yeah, like apart from that, Punjab looked like I mean, they've lost 4 games, but if you compare the two teams, they look slightly a stronger side.
Yeah, I'm not going against the home team. I'm going to go with Sunrisers Hyderabad. It's hard for me to go against them, as you know, but yeah, I'm
I'll
hoping again for
celebrate
a
with you if
title.
I'm wrong. I'll celebrate with you.
I know you will. I know you will.
Yeah, I mean,
But
it's that injury, and then it's also the form of the main batsman. I think that's a
correct.
bit of a worry, but and the death bowling. But yeah, I'll be really happy. I'll
I agree.
celebrate with you if I'm wrong.
I agree 100%. We'll see how that goes. But moving on, who are your players to watch out for both teams?
For Punjab, Mohammad Shami, I think he started off really well, but then tapered off a bit in the last few games. His role both with the opening with the new ball and in the end, I think will be crucial. So I'm looking forward to see how he bowls. And for Sunrisers, I'm going with Sandeep Sharma. I feel that
Nice. I like that.
he's going to be the wild card because you need to get those two openers out.
Yeah,
And he's going to have the new ball. I'm guessing. Like
correct.
I'm pretty sure he's going to get the new ball if Billy, especially if Billy doesn't start.
Correct.
So I think he'll need to get those wickets. And if he can get Sunrise after that start, then maybe they'll miss Bhuvi a bit less.
Yeah, I agree. It'll be interesting to see. For me, like you said, Warner, I need him to perform for Sunrisers. I mean, you've noticed in the past when he performs, when he scores big, Sunrisers usually end up winning that game. So I think you're right about none of these big guys really took up the mantle of finishing games, of scoring big ones. You have out of the top 4, you have 3
That's what I'm saying.
experienced international people who need to take the fort to the take the responsibility of scoring those big runs. So it's really up to them. Bairstow has looked good in phases, and he keeps getting out at the wrong time. Warner was woefully out of form in the last game. Williamson has soft dismissal and run out before that. He's been a little bit in and out sort of. So these 3, they have to, if they're all 3 going to play, one of them has to score big. So that's definitely something to look out for.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you just pull out, yeah, sorry to cut you off, but like if you just look at the last 4 years, pull out the records.
Yeah.
In 2016-17, it was Warner. 2018, it was Williamson at the top. Last year was Bairstow and Warner.
Yeah.
They were performing. That's why, despite a weak middle order, they were performing and they made the playoffs. This year, the middle order is not that bad. Yes, it's not the best. It's not that bad. They did step up in a game or two, but it's those players, I feel.
Yeah.
I know it's a lot to ask for, but if you just look at this team, that's how this team is set up, right? You want it's set up by like these strong foreign players, so you'll need them to perform.
I agree 100%. I think there's some very good points over there. And for me, from Punjab, I'd like to see Shami. He started off really well, but he's tapered off since then. I'd like to see him come back in form and really, take the mantle of being the most important bowler, their prime time bowler for Punjab, and really, take some wickets in the beginning, and then uh, show some more variety and variations towards the end of the innings, and restrict those runs which has been a problem for Punjab. So
Great
those are
minds
things
think
I
alike.
think.
I said the same thing. Like, I mean, I feel the same way as you.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, you're right. So I think we just have to he has to take the mantle. He is their premier
Mm.
fast bowler. He needs to take that. He started off really well, and
Yeah.
he's really tapered off since. So we'll have to see how that
Yeah,
goes.
if you can get the big wickets at the top,
Mm.
that'll boost the confidence a lot. And then in the end, if you can just keep it down a
Yeah,
notch in terms of run rate, I think it'll definitely boost their team.
I agree 100%. So it'll be an interesting game again. I'm hoping for a close one like today. So it'll be, at least it was close. It didn't really, until the last over it was really in the picture. So looking forward to game tomorrow, of course.
Who's going to score more runs, Rahul or Warner? Which captain?
Davey Warner for the century, boy.
Yeah.
Dubai pitches are a little bit better, so hopefully the ball comes on a little bit more. I mean, he wasn't able to do it in Sharjah, so who's to say he might not be able to continue to do it? But Davey Warner is he has a big innings coming. It's just a matter of, like, getting one through the middle in the first over, and he'll be good. So
For
we'll see how
sure,
that
for sure,
goes.
for sure.
Yep. I Man, take care. It'll be fun. It'll be fun to review the game tomorrow.
Yeah,
We'll catch up once it's done.
for sure. Thank you. I hope my prediction is wrong, but thank you so much. Thank you so much, and
Yep.
I'll see you.
Take
I'll
care.
catch you tomorrow. Take care.
Yep.